Hey, Orchinistas! Welcome to my channel. It's Tracy here at Forever Orchids. Today I thought we would discuss an update. Back in June of 2023, just a few months ago, I did a secret orchid haul from Sunset Valley Orchids. I got 9 plants, and today I thought we would do a quick update on how they all have been doing. So to start with, we're going to start with the very first one that I opened in part 1 of the video. This is a miniature cattleya. Now this is SLC Candy Sparks Red Candy Stripe crossed with SLC Memorial Trudy Marsh Sun Blast. And back in that video, we had one new growth that was coming out of the plant. Well, since then, this pseudobulb here that was the new growth back in June, it has matured. And the reason why I can tell that it's matured is the pseudobulb itself is plump. It is filling up with water and nutrients, and the pseudobulbs are a storage vessel. And also the leaf has hardened off, and the sheath that protects the pseudobulb during growing has turned brown. You see all of that? And also we have another new growth now that has started coming out of the pseudobulb that has matured. And in the back, look at this tall guy here coming out. Another pseudobulb coming out here. And what I like to always see in my orchids is, especially when they're seedlings, you want to try to make sure that each growth gets larger than the last one. And that's a telltale sign that your orchid is happy and it's doing well. And so one way of telling that is let me find, okay, this pseudobulb here, it has bifoliate leaves on this particular pseudobulb right here, okay? Coming out of it is this new growth. Now, here is, let's see if I can get this together here. Here's the top of this bulb, and here is the top of this bulb. Here's the flower, not the flower sheath, the sheath that covers the pseudobulb. It's coming up to here. So that is a good, what did we say? 3/4 of an inch taller than the previous pseudobulb. So that lets me know that this orchid is doing very well. We have growth of roots coming out of this pseudobulb, which is very good. And this bulb here has started doing some roots as well coming out of it. So that is a little mini cattleya. It should stay, if I'm not mistaken, about 6 inches tall before it would bloom. So got a little bit further to go, but this one is doing very well. Now in part 1, the next one that I discussed was a primary hybrid between 2 species. This orchid here is called Cattleya dubosa, and these are seedlings from Sunset Valley Orchids. And so I, as a curator of a collection of orchids, it is my right to name my seedling whatever I want as far as a clonal name, cultivar name. It's not a clonal name because this plant has never been cloned. So technically it is a cultivar name. And I have decided to name it Cattleya dubosa with the cultivar name Forever in honor of Forever Orchids. Now, I will put on the bottom of the screen what this is a cross of. It is Cattleya lotogesii and Trianii. Trianii? I have the worst time trying to pronounce that. And of course today, I'm still recovering from an illness, so my nose is still a little stopped up, so I sound a little funny to myself, so everything I'm saying does sound a little funny. Anyway, in that video, let's get back to what we were talking about. In part 1, I was showing you guys how there was a new pseudobulb that was growing. This one has matured, produced a flower sheath, no flowers yet. I do not know the time of year that this will bloom. So, as I like to call it, sometimes your seedlings, just like we do when it comes to driving, we need to have our learner's permit here in America first. So, it has a learner's permit. This might develop into flower buds at the appropriate time when this would normally bloom. I'm going to guess probably not. It's probably just going to be what I call its learner's permit. And I have just broken off the tip to a new growth, a little new root tip that I did not see was on the back of here. It happens. It happens. That right there, that root that I just broke the tip off of, that'll seal off. And it could, if that root was long enough, it'll branch out. Not too worried about it. Look at all this new growth. Look at all those new roots there. You see that? Wow. That's incredible. Looks phenomenal. And I'll also put up a picture of what this will look like when it is flowered. The potential. Now it's a seedling, so it's not going to look exact, but this will give you an idea of what this will look like. Okay. All right. The next one here that we've got is BLC. And I haven't checked, but when I put the name of what this cross is down along the bottom of the screen, if the taxonomists have changed the name of the genus, then I'll put that on there. But right now the tag says BLC Rosebud Queen of Splash, which has an HCC from the American Orchid Society that is crossed with an SLC Dream Circle cultivar named SVO that also has an award, an HCC from the American Orchid Society. So that's a cross between those two plants. And in the previous video, this was our new growth here, right here, this one. And we have roots growing from it. It's matured, and it is sending up another nice big pseudobulb there. And this will be, and you can tell, this is going to be a dark flower. And one of the ways you can tell is all of the kind of like purpley burgundy kind of color that's coming in the sheath here. Sometimes you will see spotting in the leaves. Sometimes that is also an indication of a darker flower. And that is, and I'll put up what that is due to. That'll be a whole nother video that we can discuss what causes that. Now, that could also be, I have these growing under lights because these are seedlings, and I've got so many orchids right now, I don't have enough windows to put them all in, so they are growing under grow lights. And so that can also be an indication of the darker pigmentation is what I want to say. So that one is doing really good. All right, the next one here, this is an LC and I'm going to put up on the screen because I know the last time I just butchered. Anaki, I think is how it is pronounced. LC and Anaki H&R, which has a American Orchid Society award of an HCC. And this is crossed with a species cattleya cultivar SVO top of class, I should say. And this will remain a small cattleya. And we have new growth that was started during that previous back in June. It has grown this tall here. Now the previous bulb decided to be a bifoliate, and it got its little learner's permit here, the little flower sheath. No flowers came from that. Then this pseudobulb here grew, flower sheath, and let me hold it up to the light. There's something in there, but I honestly think that it almost looks like it's a double flower sheath in there. I don't see buds coming from this. There is definitely something else in there, but it is definitely not buds. So again, I think that's just nothing more than just its learner's permit. So we'll wait for the new growth. Now, these back bulbs here that you see this yellowing of the leaves, it doesn't concern me. What's happening here is these leaves are just dying back. The plant is absorbing any nutrients that it can. There are certain nutrients, and again, I have this planned as another video that we will go in depth and talk about the nutrients, but there are some nutrients that a plant can move, called movable nutrients versus immobile. So anyway, I'm not worried about these yellowing leaves. They will die back and they will fall off on these back bulbs, and that's not an issue at all. Got new roots growing out here that looks really good. So I'm happy with the progress. Of course, I was hoping that I would get flowers off of this year. I was hoping that, but it's okay. It's okay. They're just seedlings. It's going to take a while for them to grow. And I'm pulling off some of this bottom sheath down here just to see if there's any new eyes growing, but nothing as of yet. So we'll just have to wait on that one. Okay, then I got two plants, same cross, and this one here is plant A and plant B of BLC Dubious George SVO, which has an HCC from the American Orchid Society. And this is crossed with BLC Schroeder's Love SVO, which has an AM AO from the American Orchid Society, an award of merit. Now, Dubious George is a cross of Dubiosa, which we have one here. So I've got a parent of Dubious George that is crossed with George Seps. Now, George Seps is a cross between George King Serendipity, and I can link that in the description if you want to go back. That happens to be the largest cattleya in my collection, in a 10-inch pot with 40 pseudobulbs. If you haven't watched that video, go back and watch that video so you can see how massive that plant is. And those flowers, from the time that I talk about in that video, they just yesterday started collapsing. They were open for at least 4 weeks. I have 2 more pseudobulbs that I have now flowers coming in those sheaths. So I'll get to do another video later when those 2 pseudobulbs are in bloom. Probably maybe 4 flowers total at that point in time. Anyway, back to these plants here. So BLC George Seps, which is one of the parents of Dubious George, that is crossed with the George King Serendipity, that is then crossed with a species called Laelia anceps. Beautiful, beautiful star-shaped flower, incredible long inflorescence. And that Dubious George crossed with Schroeder's Love. Now, Schroeder's Love is also a species, got a parent in it that's a species that is, and I've got a cheat sheet over here to try to help me pronounce these, Schroederii crossed with Love Sound. Love Sound is more in the yellow peachy kite families. Anyway, so I got 2 of these plants, and I've got pictures of the parents that I can post, because these are seedlings. I don't know what they're going to look like. And I've got plant A and plant B. Now, plant B, I needed to repot it, and I've already done that. I've already repotted this one. It did not get watered yesterday like everybody else, and so the pseudobulbs are a little shriveled here, so they do need some water. We've got a new growth, new root right here growing, and I do not see any new, this was the latest bulb that has matured. I do not see anything as of right now. I can see down here on the side of this bulb here, there is some swelling. So that next eye that is going to push out a new growth, that's starting to swell. So that's good. We'll get this one watered. Now this guy here, plant A, very happy, very happy. It desperately needs repotting. Most definitely. I have had new roots going everywhere. This bulb has matured with its bifoliate leaves, and there is a new growth pushing out right here. It hasn't, it's starting, and when I say that the eye is swelling, this one you can see very well. I'll see if I could get you guys in there. And so let me put this up here kind of cover this maybe, and we can kind of see. And if I need to, when I'm editing, I'll do a better job of pointing out where this eye is swelling. You can probably see the little air pocket, for lack of a better word. You can see it kind of starting to separate away from this pseudobulb, but you could definitely see it there. But I definitely, desperately need to repot this plant. I have just been so busy. I just haven't. Trying to decide what I'm going to plant it or pot it in, make sure it fits on the shelf that it is on, or if I need to move it. One of the things I did notice when I repotted this one here was that they had Sunset Valley Orchids. This one had a sphagnum moss plug in the middle of the pot. So I'm going to assume this one does too, and it's got that as well. So I don't know. It's possible. I just desperately need to get this one, I know, repotted here. Because I'm going to end up breaking some of these root tips off. Some of the root tips have already died back. It's almost like they die back either because they're seeking maybe more moisture, more humidity, or they touch something. Root tips are so sensitive. So the faster I can get this repotted, I think the better. I am a little concerned. Most of the, like this bulb here is unifoliate, 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 and then we have bifoliate. Some bifoliate cattleyas, they get really, really picky, and they only want to be repotted and can safely be repotted in a very short window when their roots are growing. So the sooner the better. I need to repot this one. All right, let's move on here to the next pair of seedlings that I got. Okay, this one is William Farrell Native Sun crossed with cattleya dubiosa scullies, which has an HCC by the American Orchid Society. Now, William Farrell, I'll put up a picture of that. That is more in the peach tones, light in colors, pastel colors, both. The dubiosa scully, that happens to be the white alba variety of dubiosa. The dubiosa that I've got, where did it go? Here, right here. This one should be more in the pink families. Could be alba, rarity that it would be an alba, but it should be in the pinks because of the two parents. But dubiosa scully is white. So it's possible that this could be white when it blooms. And let me show you, this is plant B. Now plant B, this was the new growth that was growing at the time when I got the plant. It has matured and it's got its learner's permit. It's got a flower sheath, but no buds yet. It could bloom at different time of the year than plant B. Excuse me, this is plant B, then plant A. Here's plant A. I'm so excited about plant A. Would you look at that? Look at that cutie patootie. Look how cute. Now, I just watered this one, so it's a little wet. But look at that flower. Look. Is that not gorgeous? This looks more like William Farrell in the light pastel colors. And now, let me show you this here before we talk about this. Okay, so don't be alarmed when you have a seedling and it is a first bloom seedling. It is very possible for a couple of flowering seasons that you can get on seedlings deformed flowers. So the first flower off of this inflorescence has a little cupped lip. The lip didn't fully form, but the second one opened and it did fully form. So I'm not worried about this lip here. The next blooming should take care of that. And if it doesn't, wait for the next blooming. One of the interesting things now that I want to go back and talk about these two plants here is, okay, plant B grew much taller, cylindrical, upright growth and produced a flower sheath. Plant A also more of an upright, cylindrical pseudobulb, but absolutely no flower sheath at all. Just the buds, just boop, popped right out. So I just thought that was a little interesting. Now both of these are growing under lights. They're growing under two different types of lights. And one day I'll have to do a video on the different lights that I have. And I want to get to the point where maybe I can give you the links to where you could purchase those lights if you would like to. But that'll be a different day that we can do a video about that. So I just wanted to show you these. I am just tickled to death of the progress that these orchids have had. I've been extremely pleased with Sunset Valley Orchids and their crosses. And in fact, Fred Clark is coming locally to one of the orchid societies. So I definitely want to go and hear what he's going to have to say. Not even sure the title of his speech, what he's going to be presenting that day, but I am reaching out to him to see if I can get some more plants. Can't get too many more. I'm running out of room. Hey, Orchinistas, I just wanted to pop back in and let you know of some upcoming videos that I have that I will be filming and then editing and posting. So I don't know if you could see in the previous update video that I did for Sunset Valley Orchids, this was off to the side, this hot pink bucket here. This is a cattleya that I have not introduced you to yet. You're going to have to wait before you get the formal introduction. This is currently in a pot full of water and nutrients here, but look at this bud. Look, look, look. Yes, 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 yes. Can't wait for that. So I would give it a couple more weeks and it should be open and I can do a video and a full introduction of that. That'll be upcoming. One of the, actually several of the rescue orchids that I did some videos of grooming rescued orchids. One of them that's a no ID. Look at the buds. Look at how much growth. We talked about it in one of those videos. And look how much the buds have grown. And so this will be another one that we'll get to look at together. And you guys can help me ID this plant based upon the flowers. So we have that coming up. And then also, I'm going to be taking a trip at the end of October. We're going to go on a field trip. And we're going to go to Roanoke, Virginia. I found out that Orchid Society there, they are having their 70th anniversary of being in existence. And they have a show that it will be judged by the American Orchid Society. So we'll be able to go there. I'll be able to take you guys along with me. Hopefully there'll be some plants that do get awarded by the American Orchid Society. So we'll get to talk about those. And I just wanted to let you guys know about those upcoming things that will be happening on the channel. So you might want to stay tuned, like and subscribe if you wish. And then also, don't forget, at the end of all of my videos, I always post that there's an Instagram. Well, check out my Instagram page, Forever Orchids. It's forever_orchids. And there I will post pictures of orchids that maybe you haven't seen before. I volunteer at a two local places. One is a private conservatory and the other is a public garden space. And I volunteer helping them with their orchids. And so I have the blessing of being able to take photographs of those orchids and some videos of those that maybe you haven't seen before. Definitely I'm being exposed to more orchids. I typically grow cattleyas and I typically grow phalaenopsis. I have a couple others mixed in that group there. Also, We have an orchid haul that will be coming up soon. It's a short one, but when those plants arrive, we'll do an orchid haul video as well. But until next time, guys, happy orchid growing. Bye.